is a spoiler warning, you insignificant worms. So take heed, for I am Awesom, Heart of the Dark, the creator of this miserable content. Gleeman has read the series cover to cover, book to book, so while he might forget some of the small details, he very well might talk about something major several books down. So if you have yet to read the entire series, well, who's to blame, listener? Not I, who went and ruined the greatest fantasy series ever to exist. Not I.
Okay, Awesom, that was really nice, but, you kind of made a mistake and fubbed one of your lines, so if you don't mind actually
No, I will not redo it. That is your problem, making us take such a long freaking break, okay? I'm out of practice. I don't even want to be here in the first place, but the great Lord of the Dark has given me no other recourse.
Okay, well, I guess we'll move along then, huh? Well, if you're not willing to do it, we might as well just move on to the recap. I don't want to waste too much more time. Again, we were gone for a really long time, so yeah. You ready to do the recap for Chapter 16, The Wisdom?
Yes, fine. We might as well move along. Not much happened in that chapter anyways, other than being a Nynaeve-centric chapter. Honestly, who wanted that?
Hey, I wanted that. I love Nynaeve. She may have her attitude problems later, but she's one of my favorite female characters. Don't you mess with Nynaeve. She'll mess you up, dude. She may not be as strong as you are, but she's nastier, I guarantee it, man.
Yeah, okay then. Nynaeve can totally handle me. It's not like she had trouble with Mogideon later, and, she's weaker than I am, or she had problem with Agenor, and he's weaker than I am. Alright, let's just get into this, because I honestly don't want to laugh too much here. I got a thing to maintain as nameless, I gotta be dark and mysterious and awesome. So, yes, Nynaeve, the Wisdom, showed up. That child with a braid that's actually worryingly strong. Not as strong as me, of course, but worryingly strong for her kind. And, well, she wanted to take the children back to Emond's Field, but the child, Aes Sedai, wouldn't let her. And honestly, I'd hope she succeeded. It would have made it so much easier to take them all and destroy them. But, didn't happen, of course. Not that I had anything to worry about, since the dragon went and told my faithful hound where he was. I mean, come on. Anyways, the Wisdom Girl was talked out of taking them home, and then they went, and she went to go do her own thing. No, she had a moment with the dragon, didn't she? She confirmed he wasn't born in the Two Rivers, and he was all upset about it, but she was sweet. Anyways, I think that's all that really happened, She terrified the Emmonsfielders and got them all scared, and the child, Aes Sedai, talked her down, and the Gleeman talked her down even better, and then the stone-faced warder made her all, hot and bothered, and that was it. That was it. Can we move on now? It's time for Chapter 17, Watchers and Hunters, right?
Yes, it is finally time to move on. Welcome back, everybody, to Gleeman Radio's Return to the Wheel of Time podcast, episode 18. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 17, Watchers and Hunters. I am so sorry for the long hiatus, guys. That was all my bad. The fact that I still had people listening, the fact that I had people following me on Twitter, the only reason I could think they're doing that is because they're listening to this, so thank you so much. I am so sorry. It's finally time to get a move on. I don't really have anything else to say. Halfman and I covered it all. He left as soon as he was done with his recap. I had to cut it out because the screeching, horrible sound when he uses the true power to travel back to Shale Ghul is just horrible on the head, okay? It hurts my head. My head is still ringing. If I put it in the podcast, you guys probably would have all collapsed. I don't know, especially if you're listening to podcasts with headphones. like I do. It just would have been awful. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and put in our clip of the day and then move on with the discussion. Yes, I'm so glad to be back.
You will take me to your camp, Whitecloak. Moraine's voice came suddenly from every direction at once. She had moved back into the night at the children's approach, and shadows clumped around her. You will question me? Darkness wreathed her as she took a step forward. It made her seem taller. You will bar my way? Another step, and Rand gasped. She was taller, her head level with his, where he sat on the Grey's back. Shadows clung about her face like thunderclouds. Aes Sedai! Bornhold shouted, and 5 swords flashed from their sheaths. Die! The other 4 hesitated, but he slashed at her in the same motion that cleared his sword. Rand cried out as Moraine's staff rose to intercept the blade. That delicately carved wood could not possibly stop hard-swung steel. Sword met staff, and sparks sprayed in a fountain, a hissing roar hurling Bornhold back into his white-cloaked companions. All 5 went down in a heap. Tendrils of smoke rose from Bornhold's sword on the ground beside him, blade bent at a right angle, where it had melted almost in 2. You dare attack me?
Oh man, I'm so excited to get into the chapter breakdown. Chapter 17, Watchers and Hunters, was a pretty good chapter. It starts out wholesome, right? You got the common room stuff, you got Nynaeve, you got dancing, you got fun, you got going to get a glass of milk before bed, and then it kind of evolves into badassery with Myrddraals and Moraine doing, becoming a giant that blocks out the moon and blocking swords with her staff. It has the best of both worlds for me, and I really like that. So the chapter picks off immediately after the last one. Rand is walking away from Nynaeve, who went off to do her, bath today, tomorrow, who knows. And he needs to take his mind off Nynaeve. Because, 1, Min said she'd cause more trouble being there, that they were in a little bit more danger with her there. And 2, she confirmed he was born outside the 2 rivers. I'm still uncertain if she believes he really is the biological son of Carial Thor or not. But, or if she just meant, he's her son, as in he raised her and she raised him and she loves him. But regardless, he needs to clear his head, because this has made him unhappy, uncomfortable. He's worried. So he decides to go and blow off some steam in the common room. And that's where he finds Tom Marilyn, Gleeman extraordinaire, probably my favorite character, or always in the running for it, telling the great hunt of the Horn to a rapt crowd. I mean, everybody is watching with mouths hanging open. Servers are stocked still with trays in their hands, mouth hanging open. Every chair or stool is practically full. I mean, it's crazy. And Rand actually has to squeeze in with Matt and Perrin. They kind of have to budge aside and give him a little bit of room, but, Rand and Perrin are big boys, so, I hope Matt budged the most, because he's a bit of a skinnier fella, kind of got more of an athletic build, And, they sit down, and they're all enjoying the stories, because Tom's telling the great hunt of the Horn. And there's so many tellings of it that I believe they said it would take a week or more to tell the whole thing in full. And I find that really amusing, because that's kind of how the Wheel of Time is now. If you put all the audiobooks together, it'd probably take a week or more to listen to them all in a row without sleeping, without resting, without stopping. And it just makes you wonder if Robert Jordan, before he passed, or around the time he wrote this novel, if he ever thought it would be that expansive. Probably not, because I think it was originally supposed to be a trilogy. But it's just fun to think about, that The Great Hunt now equivalates to the Wheel of Time. It's just great. Rand's hungry, but he doesn't mind that the servers are stocked still, because he's enjoying listening to Tom's Tales too. We hear about Rosh Eagle-Eye and Blaze Matuchin and Guidle Kane, all of which are heroes of the Horn, which is kind of cool that the heroes that go searching for the Horn that are most famous for it are perhaps bound to it. I think that's really cool. I actually looked it up in the Wheel of Time Companion because I wanted to know more about Blaze Matuchin, because they made it sound so interesting. If I remember right, Tom was saying something like, "Ever since she was born, the Dark One had marked her for his own, but not of the Shadow Rot was Blaze. No, not her." It was great. I love the way he tells these stories. There wasn't much about her in the Wheel of Time Companion, which was a little disappointing. It basically just said, hero of the Horn with pretty gold hair. Yay. I mean, you could pretty much, that's Birgitta, so, whatever. I don't know. I was hoping for more there. Rosh Eagle-Eye is pretty cool, but nowadays, all I can think of when I hear Rosh Eagle-Eye is Hawkeye Mihawk, so I don't know. And of course, we all know who Guidle Kane is. Oh, I didn't think about it. Could Blaze Matuchin be a version of Birgitta? Because she was mentioned alongside Guidle in these stories. Well, not in the same stories, but she was mentioned in the same, paragraph, and she has blonde hair. I mean, I do know I read that she was a hero for the Horn, but all it said was that she was a hero of the Horn with golden hair. That would be cool if Blaze was just another name, kind of like Marin and, there's other names. I can't remember them. Yeah, so, that was it for the songs and everything, because Tom moves on. He puts away the harp, and he pulls out the flute. It's time for singing and dancing and clapping. I've never been into dancing. I don't know why. I know there are some guys that enjoy it, mainly because, you dance with the girls, but I was never very coordinated on my feet in that way. So when I watch these scenes, I think I'd be the guy sitting at the table clapping on his knee or something. But, they seem to really enjoy it, and that's probably because this is one of their main forms of entertainment. You either listen to a story, listen to some music, or you get up and dance and have a good time. So, who am I to say, So, I kind of like how they get up and everybody moves a bunch of the tables and stools and benches or whatever to the side so there's room to dance. I like that. And everybody's clapping, and everybody's getting into it, and Tom is standing on a table playing his flute, and right next to him a drummer guy got out, and another guy with a hammered dulcimer. If you don't know what a hammered dulcimer is, think of kind of a box with strings attached to it, maybe like an early form of a guitar. I'm not a music guy, I can't confirm or deny, but it's a percussion string instrument wrapped around like a hollow box with, stuff like that. So everybody's getting ready to dance. Rand and Perrin get up. They want to dance. They want to have a good time. But Matt was too late. He was the last to get up, so he sulkily has to stay and guard the cloaks and weapons, which I found hilarious. Matt had to sit around and sit on his ass, which is not something Matt really likes to do. Yeah, so dancing must be really fun for these people because they are loving it, even though the way the dance was described. Again, I'm not an expert, but it sounded like a square dance to me. You can let me know if I'm wrong, but it sounds like they're square dancing. And square dancing is not fun. I don't know. So Rand gets in line, and his first dancing partner is this pretty girl with a long braid and a shy smile, and he's like, "Oh, this reminds me of home. Maybe this isn't so bad." And then she gives him another smile and a wink that wasn't shy at all. And suddenly, Rand's nervous. Oh, not good with the ladies. I mean, he might get 3 women who love him, and maybe more. Only 3 women who count, really, in this situation. But he's not good with it. No, he's very uncomfortable with the kind of forward lady. I mean, I don't know. He's not as comfortable with it when Elaine kind of starts pushing things later, so I don't know. Or Avienda, or Mitt. Oh my god, they all made the first move. Holy crap. They all made the first move. Huh. I didn't think about that before. Okay, moving on. I'm just... Yeah. Okay, so everybody's having a good time. The entire common room is smiling and laughing. All except one dude. This scowling guy with a scar from his temple to his opposite jaw sitting in the corner, and he's watching Rand. And Rand's just like, oh, huh. And then he kind of goes back and he's like, well, I don't know why the guy's staring at me so hard. I didn't mean to stare. I didn't mean to offend the fella. Wow, alright, I'm going to go back to my thing here, you know? And then he goes to the next girl in line and nearly trips over his feet because it's Nynaeve. Oh, he's just not good with the ladies. He's just not. He dances all clumsily and kind of, you know, trips over his feet a little bit. And after the dance and they're moving on to the next partner, I love how Nynaeve gives him a gentle tease, you know, like, I thought you were a better dancer than this. And then, you know, a smile and moves on. She's being nice, you know, and he's like, oh God, at least that's over. That was terrifying. Nope. Who's the next girl in line? Lady in line, excuse me, Moraine. Moraine dances with him, and he nearly falls twice, which I could not stop laughing. I literally nearly dropped the book in my big expansive guffaw, you know what I mean? I nearly, it was great. Nearly tripped over his damn feet. It to me, it was just too funny. Finally, she moves on, and he dances with Egwene. But they both kind of stubbornly dance quietly, you know? Like, he was going to open his mouth and apologize, but then she kind of goes, no, and she looks away, and he's just like, fine, if she's not going to, I'm not going to either. They dance sullenly, which is, you know, part of the course for them. It's really good they broke up. They only have a few good moments as a potential couple. They really do better as kind of brother and sister kind of relationship, you know, pushing at each other, making each other better. You know, they interact well when they're not in a relationship. I'm just saying. So finally, Rand's had enough for a little while, so he sits down so Matt can dance. And Matt hurries off to the next one, which is some sort of jig. I don't care. I really don't care about the dancing. It's more the interactions that I enjoy. And Perrin sits down with him, and he's all bluster. He's like, did you see her? Did you? Oh, my God, I couldn't believe it. And Ram's like, yeah, who? Mistress Alice? Or the Wisdom? I danced with them both. It sounded cocky to me, even though it probably wasn't, but it's just the way it was phrased, you know? I danced with both of them. Which one are you talking about, big fella? And Perrin's just like, Mistress Alice? Holy shit, light! I didn't see her. He was just shocked to see Nynaeve had been dancing, because apparently she never dances back at home. Which is weird. Maybe the Women's Council, the Women's Circle doesn't approve. Maybe they think it's too, showy? I don't know. We all know Emond's Field is quite prudish, you know. So I really don't know why she wouldn't really be allowed to dance. Maybe she could dance, but she doesn't because she's trying to keep her stately, you know, station. She's trying to keep up appearances. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't normally dance. Maybe she wouldn't have danced, but maybe she was hoping a certain tall, you know, stone-faced warder would have been in the dance, you know? Because she did get all blushy last chapter when he complimented her about her tracking, so, yeah. So, oh God, what am I thinking? The servers finally get back into action and remember what they're supposed to be doing after a couple dances. I guess they had some fun, too. and they go and serve Rand a hot meal, like I think it was stew and bread or something. And he enjoyed it, and then he goes back to dancing a couple more times, very much aware that the Scarface man is still watching him. And Rand's getting irritated now. And I love how, like, you know, this book came out in, 89? And it's kind of PC here, you know? He's like, wow, I don't know why he's so mad at me. I didn't mean to stare. I'm sorry. You know, maybe he can't smile because of his scar. He can leave me alone, though. I didn't mean to upset him. God, like, he's getting frustrated, you know? Didn't mean to offend the man, but he's trying to ignore it. And he's getting back into the dancing, and he dances with Nynaeve and Moraine again, and he did better this time. He did better, and he even got a couple compliments from both of them, which didn't make him feel any better. I mean, in fact, he got him embarrassed and feeling worse, which makes sense, right? You don't want to be reminded that you kind of looked like a doofus and were tripping over your feet with two beautiful, powerful women earlier on. You don't want to remember that. And he dances with Egwene again, and apparently this dance was even worse. Not that they didn't perform well on the dance floor, but more like when he sits back down, apparently Matt said he was glaring at her. I don't know. Maybe it's because when she finally showed up to dance, her hair wasn't braided, but it was wrapped up in a bow. Like, she couldn't figure out whether she wanted to cater to Moraine or Nynaeve, you know? Like, you know, she did kind of shove off the Two Rivers customs pretty quick. I don't know. But yeah, apparently he was glaring at Egwene, which I found funny. So, around midnight, Moraine goes up and decides, you know, she's done. Time to go to bed. And she's kind of followed by Egwene after she gives her a look, you know? If Moraine's going up, Egwene's going up. And I love how Nynaeve deliberately took part in one last dance. And they describe it as she looked as if she had scored a point on the Aes Sedai. What part of, like, was it staying up longer? Is that what it was? Like, maybe she outdanced the Aes Sedai. Maybe the Aes Sedai got tired and had to go to bed. And she's like, I still got stamina to spare. I don't know. I know guys sometimes, I've actually had arguments and competitions with my friends, you know. Oh, I've stayed up 24 hours before, no problem. Oh, I've stayed up 36. Oh, I've stayed up 48. Well, I've stayed up 72. Things got weird, but I was up for 3 days. You know, maybe it's a guy thing. But that just doesn't what it seems that it is. I don't know. She's looking for these tiniest reasons to get a leg up on Moraine, and it's weird, but adorable. I love Nynaeve. I love her so much. I've noticed I like the ladies with attitude. You know, I like Nynaeve. I like Avienda. I like Min. Min's got less of a, you know, angry side, but she's got that attitude. I like Egwene best when her attitude is in the right way. I like Cadsuane. I like Moraine when she's starting to get frustrated. I like the wise ones because they're such hard asses in the best possible way. I don't know. Maybe that's just my type. But, you know, I don't know what she's doing here. I don't know what she's doing here. So, yeah. Tom's done, too, this time. So, Nynaeve stayed up till the end, apparently. Tom's putting away his flute and ending the dancing at night, while he's good-naturedly arguing with people who still want him to perform, which I think is fun. He's that good, or they needed the fun that badly. I like it. I just do. The warder came to fetch... came to fetch. My notes say game. Okay. The boys telling them they had an early start in the morning and they needed to get some rest. Yeah, that's great. They're leaving at dawn and they're going to bed at midnight. That's great rest. How did they know it's midnight? You know, that's the thing that just came to my head. Did they, like, tell the time by the position of the stars out the window? I don't know. Yeah, need an early start. Matt brought up being stared by a man with a scarred face, and Rand's like, oh, this guy? And then he kind of, like, drags his finger across his face, and Matt's like, yeah, that guy. What's his problem? And Perrin's like, yeah. And Land's like, I saw the man. Fitch says he's a Whitecloaks spy. And Rand Rand wonders if Bornhold really wanted to get back at him that badly? Which proves, even though in an earlier chapter he kind of mentioned bad things he's heard the Whitecloaks do, and even saying, like, if you can call the things they do kind of trouble, it proves he doesn't understand them yet. Would they really want to get him back at him that badly? Yes. Yes. The Whitecloaks are awful. You laughed at them, Rand. You must be a dark friend. You didn't bow and scrape, Rand. You must be a dark friend. That's how it works. I hate the Whitecloaks. There's so few Whitecloaks I like, but I'm going to have to get into this big rant later because they suck in this chapter, so I might as well move it on to that. So yeah. Rand is stupid about the Whitecloaks. What's new? I keep feeling bad about giving Rand all this shit. But if Rand stopped screwing up, I wouldn't have to get this upset at him. I'm just saying. So they're moving on, and Matt's like, God, what? Oh, it's time for bed. Where's Nynaeve staying? And the boys learn that she's rooming with Moraine and Egwene. Ooh, I kind of imagine all three kind of do an inhale. Ooh, no, unpleasant. Like, poor Egwene. I've been giving her shit too, but can you imagine being between those two? Ooh, yikes. Oh man, I hope you don't hear that train too loudly. It's still going. Okay, there we go. Oh, just imagine. Really, just imagine being in between those two in an argument. Ooh, not fun. Not fun. So, as the men are leaving the common room and heading towards the stairs, we get a little thing that I really like. Matt is singing bits of song that he heard, which to me is great, because later on, when, Matt wakes up from his healing of the Shadar-Logoth dagger that's going to come up here eventually, he starts the thing of humming and singing a lot without noticing, right? And it was always something that made you wonder, is this something he always did, or is this a effect of the memories? Is this part of his new personality that he's so into music? But no, here he is, like, really into singing, really into the music. And I like that. It's good continuity for me. Also, Perrin's practicing a few dance steps he learned. Which means Perrin's into dancing. We know he can't sing, because at one point he describes his singing to be like a bullfrog, So we know he can't sing, but apparently he likes to dance, which probably bodes well for Fael. Who likes to dance a bit more, right? Huh? The Sassara? Yeah. I can't wait till we get to Fael. I don't care if people dislike her. I love her. Like, the only, really problem I have with Fael is that her not communicating with Perrin what she wants. And her overlong capture. I probably said this before. I should move on. I just say what comes into my mind along with the notes I'm reading. Yeah. So, Rand is not ready to go to sleep. He's like, I'm gonna get a glass of milk before bed, because I'm a wholesome farm boy. And, yeah. So, yeah, he's gonna go to the kitchen, but Lan's a bit tense. Lan's like, there's something feels wrong, sheepherder. Something isn't right. It feels wrong in the night. And so you take care, and hurry up. Get your milk and go to bed, because we're leaving at dawn, whether you're awake enough to sit in the saddle or need to be tied on. I love Lan. He's so cool. I can only imagine these boys being tied on the saddle. It would actually be amusing. And that's when the laughter's gone, guys. Because that's when the Murdral shows up. Rand's just heading back to his room, leaving the kitchen, heading down that hallway, taking a little sip of his milk, and all of a sudden, something just horrible and nasty materializes out of the shadows, and the Murdral appears and begins to question him. He's like, "You're one of them, boy. Where are the others? Speak, and I'll let you live." But Rand is too scared to move, to think, to breathe. And I think the Murdral should be used to this by now. People always get frightened by the eyeless, right? I think he should have, like, dragged Rand into a corner or the private dining room or something and questioned him. But no. He's just like, answer, boy. I know you're probably too scared, but answer. And it makes no sense to me. Terrifying. Thades are terrifying. I don't care. I know that they become kind of cannon fodder later, but think about it, right? Myrddraal are scary throughout the entire series. I don't care what you have to say. Because when they're cannon fodder, they're cannon fodder to our OP characters, right? The average guy that tries to take on a Myrddraal is still in danger. Lan can face a Myrddraal without problem. Why? Because Robert Jordan himself has claimed he is like the best Blade Master around. Period. Right? Funny enough, I actually put a poll on Twitter on what you guys thought was your favorite Blade Master. Tam Althor won. I like that. That was cool. But yeah, like, Lan's the best swordsman ever, right? Perrin's a wolf brother, which I don't think comes with just heightened senses, okay? It comes with also heightened reflexes. It also comes with that fiery willpower, right? And he is a big, powerful dude, and he has to crush and destroy the Neverborn, right? Matt has all of these ridiculous memories of combat, so of course he's gonna do well, and he has a weapon that keeps him at distance. And Egwene, Nynaeve, Elaine, Moraine, Rand, these are all extremely powerful channelers, okay? As in, Egwene and Elaine and Aviendha are ridiculously strong from Aes Sedai standards, right? And Nynaeve is well above that. So I don't think the Myrddraal really just get too less scary. I think it's our characters get too strong as time moves on. I just want to make that clear. Myrddraal are scary from chapter 1 to the end. Okay? It just depends on who's facing them. That's my opinion. I went off tangent. Oh no, where am I? You are one of them, blah blah blah. But the Fade's taking too much time, right? Rand's not going to answer because he's too scared, and all of a sudden there's a loud clatter of boots upstairs. And it makes the Fade nervous. The Fade spins around and pulls out its black blade, staring up the stairwell. And this is really, really, really cool. His sword is described to, like, make the light in the hallway. The dim light, yes, but the dim light in the hallway grow dimmer. How cool is that? Is that ever mentioned again? I don't know. Maybe it's because we don't see too many Myrddraal in towns anymore. We always see them on battlefields and stuff. But it was so cool. Just, can you imagine that in the show coming up? Huh? Like, he pulls out his sword, and then the whole hallway dims a little bit more, and maybe his black blade is, like, darker than the shadows. Oh, so cool. Speaking of the show, how many of you heard about Rosamund Pike, if I'm saying that name right, as Moraine? I'm a little nervous. I've only seen her in Jack Reacher, and her character, not her character was kind of bland. Again, I haven't seen the movie in years, but her character was kind of bland, right? I need to look up interviews with her and stuff like that to get more confident, but she's just not exactly what I pictured when I thought of Moraine. I'm not against her at all. But she just seems a bit taller than I'd expect. And part of the problem is probably that she has blonde hair in almost every picture I've seen. And I picture Moraine as this, like, 5'1", dark-haired, dark-eyed beauty. And she's beautiful, yes, but just not exactly what I pictured. So I'm a little nervous. Again, tangents. Good God, I'm so sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah, the blade. Okay, the blade growing dimmer, and then I talked about the show, which brought me to Moraine's casting, which, yeah, okay. So he whirls back around the Myrddraal and looks towards Rand, and I love how they also describe, while he's whirling around, his cloak is still, which, again, creepy. That would be cool to see in the show, too. I'm so excited, guys. So excited. And he turns to Rand and he tells him, "You belong to the great Lord of the Dark," before whirling away and running off just before Lan appears. Running off just before Lan appears. Just saying, a Myrddraal ran away from Alan Mandrorgarin, okay? Last Lord of the Seven Towers. I mean, it probably had to do with keeping a low profile, but still, props to the warder, right? Props to the king of warders, right? Oh, I love it. Even if it's just a coincidence, even if it really is, the Myrddraal needs to keep a low profile, you can always count that as a badass point that he ran away when Lan was coming. And I'm just saying. So, yeah, it's time to leave. They found them. It's time to go. There's no way around it. Rand tells Lan about the fade, and Lan kind of cocks his head, and he's like, yeah, I can sense it. It's fading. Fading. Yeah, it's gone. So, makes me think it probably hopped into a shadow and went away, which was never properly explained. I want more about the shadow hopping from Myrddraal. Maybe we'll see that in the show too. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, he's fading and gone. The reason Lan senses this is probably because his shadow spawn sense granted to him by the warder bond. Another cool aspect I really like. And this is the first time we really get a in-person example about that. Because earlier, we only got told about how Lan and Moraine kind of ran out and were like, Trollocs, this is dangerous, we gotta go. So, yeah. Matt and Perrin and Tom come down the stairs right after Lan, draped in all their belongings. And I don't know why I like it so much, but the fact that it was Tom that had all of Rand's stuff and handed it over to the young man, I mean, I don't know. Someone had to take it down. But still, the fact that it's Tom, I like. I don't know why. Maybe he had less belongings on him because he's used to traveling around. Maybe he had like a single saddlebag or, his cloak. And I don't know. But for some reason, it warmed my heart that it was Tom. I can't explain why. Maybe because Tom is great. And I'm like, there's another reason Tom is awesome. He cares about the lads. Yep, another point. Like, I don't know. Lan says they're leaving now, as in right now, in the night. And Rand's surprised. He's like, but Lan, like, can't we, like, do we really have to leave now? And he's like, okay, sure, you can stay. If you want to stay and wait for the Halfmen to return, perhaps with more of their kind. Like, now that they know where we are, we're not safe here. We gotta go. There's no choice. And Rand's like, oh, yeah, I guess. Tom states he'll continue on with them if the warder has no objections, and that too many people saw him arrive in their company for him to be entirely comfortable with how things are going, so he's gonna go with them, but of course we know it's because of Owen and him wanting to keep the lads safe and stay with them. And I really, really like Lan's words here. He's like, you can ride with us or ride to Shale Ghul, Gleeman. And then he, like, rams his sword back in his sheath. Oh, it's great. I think he still distrusts Tom. You know what? I think Moraine's already kind of attracted to him a little bit. I think Moraine is attracted to intelligence and cleverness, which are not the same thing. I think you guys know that. And Tom has those in spades, right? She had that really delighted laugh when he was intimidating the ferryman with his knives and everything. I'm wondering if Lan felt some emotions through the warder bond that he can't quite pick up because, well, he's not interested in relationships right now, and she's not interested in relationships. They're soldiers in battle. So maybe part of the reason he's actually having problems with Tom is Tom might be very slightly distracting Moraine. I don't know. I wasn't surprised when later we found out that they were kind of coupling up or kind of a thing. I wasn't surprised. And it wasn't that I picked up all of this stuff earlier on. I think I did subconsciously. They were there and I'm like, yep, I like it. I like it a lot. I bring it up every time I talk about both of them in a paragraph, but whatever. Whatever. Alright guys, just to be clear, if you ever feel like I'm going on a topic too long, like if I'm ever spending too much time on, oh, Moraine and Tom, or, oh, I love Nynaeve, or I love Fael, or any of this stuff, let me know. Sometimes I can't remember everything I talked about the previous episode or 5 episodes back, so I might repeat myself on some of this stuff. So let me know if it ever bothers you guys, because the least I can do is rephrase my arguments or, use them less often. I don't have to simply say, I love Maureen and Tom so much together every episode, My current favorite Wheel of Time podcast, there's so many popping up now, and it's amazing, but I'm trying not to listen to too many of them. It sounds horrible, but, I got my Balsamon voice idea for listening to old Twatcast episodes, right? I liked how they did the Minion and Dark One voice for some of their commercials and stuff. I found it really amusing, so I decided, I want to do my own Balsamon voice. I don't want to get too influenced by other people's work. I don't want to take what makes theirs special. Twatcasts were using these as funny little commercials, and I kind of use them as my intro. Like the Dragon Reread is currently my favorite ongoing Wheel of Time podcast. It's the only one I listen to week to week. And I'm getting a little frustrated with every new person being a Forsaken. They're joking, they're playing, they're having a good time. And I can get that. But, when they, we meet Egwene's new maid. Oh, they're close too soon. She's a Forsaken. Or, oh, we met this person. They're a Forsaken. Like, it can get a little frustrating. I'm gonna keep listening to them, but, if I could go, guys, just a little bit less on it, and they heard me, that'd be great. But if they didn't, whatever. So if I'm ever, doing that stuff to you, let me know. I just comment it, email me, put it on Twitter, gleemanradio@gmail.com, and the Gleeman Radio at Twitter. Just let me know, and I'll definitely try to work on that. I don't want to ever become monotonous to you guys, because I am one person alone, which has always concerned me on this podcast. But while I was taking a brief break after I recorded my introduction and got my clip, right? And I went on Twitter and I posted, the new episode's going to be up tomorrow and everything. And then I was going through it, and I saw the weekly Wheel of Time News actually did a shout-out about me and said, this guy has great energy, and, he's very funny for one guy alone, and the dog's barking at the window. I hate you so much, Johnny. It made me feel so good. It just made me feel so good. It made my week, guys. It made my week. Did I go on a tangent again? Just let me know on Twitter, let me know on email, let me know in the comments on YouTube or on Podbean or wherever. And I'll do my best to make this the best listening experience for you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go get the dog before he starts barking for 5 minutes at a shadow outside. It's just a second. Alrighty, I'm back. I don't know if it showed up on the podcast or not. Sometimes they'll go out there and just bark and 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 bark. It gets on my nerves. I don't know if it showed up or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I just don't want there to be dogs barking in the background of my podcast. So I had to go put him away in the other room. Alright, moving on before I have another tangent. I'm sweating through my shirt. I can't really record with my, fan or my air conditioner on. I'm getting a little impatient. It's a good thing Aiel aren't real, because they're like one of my favorite peoples in the series. I think I'd like the sea folk more if they weren't, such jerks all the time. But, they'd start laughing their butts at me when I start sweating like crazy in the late 70s. I mean, it's in the 90s here. But, when it gets to the high 70s, I already start getting uncomfortable. So I wouldn't love my favorite peoples really, really giving me a hard time. It would hurt. So let's move on before I go on yet another tangent. I think I've been going on for 5+ minutes on nothing about the chapter. So, Moraine appeared coming down the stairs, and she's speaking with Master Fitch, and Egwene and Nynaeve are behind them. And Egwene appears so frightened close to tears, which surprised me. Maybe she was worried about Rand. Maybe Moraine's like, oh, Shadow Spawn, and one of the boys are downstairs. Maybe she slipped it out or something because of, the coin or whatever. Or maybe she's just afraid of the Shadow Spawn. I don't know. I kind of don't see her just being afraid because one's nearby. But, she is younger and less experienced here. But Nynaeve's got this kind of cold anger going on. She's not being intimidated. I love that. And Moiraine's telling the innkeeper that there'll probably be trouble by morning. That this is bad now. Possibly dark friends, maybe worse. So, innkeeper, old friend that I'm actually quite fond of, right? Immediately tell them where they've left and you don't know where they've gone. Put up no resistance. Just tell them they left in the night and they shouldn't bother you any further. Moiraine actually told this person dark friends or worse. She did the best she could. And for us knowing how secretive Moiraine is, how much she's of a need-to-know basis on everybody, for her to say this proves she cares about this person, right? But Master Fitch is having none of it, though. He's like, no, we won't say a word. Not a word, Mistress Alice. They won't hear a word from us. Not one. And Moraine's just getting frustrated. She's like, no. Tell them we left. No. Now, if you don't mind me, I have to go. Tend to your horses if you want to leave. Goodbye. And she's like, no. And she had like a hand on his wrist, on his sleeve, and he shook it free and went off. And he's being a good host, but poor guy. We know what's going to happen. Matt asks if Trollocs will be coming after them at the end. But Moiraine just snaps at him. She's like, of course not. But there are other things to fear. Fades, dark friends, probably. And most importantly, she wants to know how they found us. How did they know? How? You want to know, Moiraine? You want to know? Pot on Fane. Want to know how, Moiraine? Want to know how? Stupid rant. Telling Pot on Fane, we'll be at the Stag and Lion. Why don't you come by? We can at least get you a meal. You guys already know my feelings on this. I'm just gonna move on. Moiraine is super frustrated because Fitch won't take the threat seriously enough. Apparently, according to her, he probably thinks dark friends are like wretches in the shadows, beggars and just nasty. He thinks they're all like Pot on Fane. But like Pot on Fane in Camelin, not here, right? Pot on Fane after he's in rags and smelly and nasty. That's what he thinks all dark friends are. But no. She's like, there are dark friends high as well as low. And he's just being stupid. I feel bad because Master Fitch, this is like the only time we ever see him. We hear about him later from men when they're in Tar Valon, but this is the last time we see him, and he was a pretty damn good innkeeper. We meet a lot of innkeepers on this series, but like not all of them are as nice as Master Fitch. I don't know why I'm saying I hope. I already know things are going to go wrong for him. So, on their way out to the stable yard, Rand falls in with Nynaeve carrying her saddlebags. And he just takes a look and he goes, wow, Min was right. She is part of it. She is coming. Damn it. Personally, I'd be happy about it. Oh, Nynaeve's coming with us? Well, a lot of people are going to give us a lot less shrift, huh? A lot of people are going to give us less attitude, huh? Because Nynaeve will have none of it. Moiraine doesn't have to stand out as, like, the bossy one. She'd just be like, those are in our way. What would you do about it, Mistress Almira? And Nynaeve's like, I'll show you what I'm going to do about it. Pulling up her sleeves and marching out to handle it. I love Nynaeve. She keeps up her bravado, Nynaeve does. She's like, no, I'll come with you, but I intend to see you home, and I mean it. So she's going to come along because, like, maybe she'll go through the whole journey and see them home or something, maybe is her mindset. I don't know. She doesn't want them to be among strangers, which is kind of along the lines of what the village council and women's circle were talking about, what we heard from Nynaeve. Part of them wanted them brought home, and some of them understood that if the Aes Sedai was taking them, it must be important, but didn't want them among strangers. So Nynaeve's like, yep, I'll be the adult here that's with them, that's keeping them safe from the likes of her. I noticed when she got all upset and said she wasn't going to leave them alone with the likes of her, capital H-E-R, she didn't say them, right? Maybe she doesn't mind them being with Lan. Just saying. Words count, especially in a novel like this. Okay, she hasn't said one nasty thing about the warder. So she asks Rand if there really was anything down there with him, and Rand confirms. He's like, yup, there was a fade. He was scary. I'm kind of embarrassed. And then Lan came and scared him off. Oh, yes. So, as the horses are being led out, and the gang are climbing into the saddle, Rand actually does something good for Egwene, and he holds her bags for her while she mounts Bella, and then hands them up to her, and he sees her fear-filled eyes again, and he's embarrassed, right? Because he's thinking, well, she must not be as excited about her adventure anymore. She'd be safer riding back alone to the True Rivers rather than coming with them. You know, that's his thought process. Which, let's be honest, not really. There are Trollocs and Fades and Drakkar about. And those Trollocs would just go ham on a girl riding a pony alone. You know, not a pony. Bella's like a cart horse, not a pony. But you know what I mean? Egwene alone would, immediately be killed. But Rand doesn't really know that. He just needs to cling to something. Like, you know, he's blaming himself, and he shouldn't be. He should be blaming her for forcing her way into the adventure. But, you know, since she's there, and he knows how stubborn she is, and since she said she's going all the way to Tar Valon, she won't turn back. He knows that. I love how he thinks about Min's words here. Not the part where they weren't right for each other, but the part where she's part of it. And he's sitting there going, part of what? This is so frustrating. This is he doesn't want there to be a big deal. None of them do, you know? So this is when Rand does the good thing. He mans up and apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry, Egwene. You know, we'll be safe. We'll look after each other. And Egwene actually puts out a nice moment, too. She reaches down and squeezes his wrist, you know, not looking as afraid this now. And knowing Egwene, this was either she's suppressing her fear to calm him, or his panic gave her strength to calm down. I can't decide which, but I think, you know, like, I honestly think with Egwene, it's probably his panic calmed her. Pete, to be honest, that's what I think. So they're heading out now for the Camelin Gate and have a little conversation with the guardsmen once they get there, and a little bribe of gold. You know, they need to get through the gate, but the guardsman's like, you know, this gate doesn't open at night. That's not how things work. You know, which is why, you know, the bribe of gold. But yeah, so they're actually, Moraine and Lan are clever here. They're like, the governor may have said nobody in after dark, but you see, we don't want in. They want out. We want to leave. And, you know, they're edging the line there, you know. I don't think it would have worked on, forgive me here, a smarter individual or a guardsman that was higher up. You know, this is a guy who probably, you know, lives, you know, coin pouch to coin pouch. You know, I wanted to say paycheck to paycheck. You know, so that little bribe of gold definitely helped work things out. So he's like, all right, everybody get up. We're going to open these doors. No complaining, you know. They didn't bribe me. It's time to go. Didn't want them to know about the monies. So they start opening the gates. But then they're interrupted by the Whitecloaks. Okay. So, Bornhald and 4 other nameless Whitecloaks appear and start making asses of themselves. You know, aren't these gates supposed to be closed until morning? God, I hate the Whitecloaks. They're just a big, stupid ball of hatred and bigotry, and for playing such a big, long-winded part in the story, there aren't even that many that are distinguished from the others. Honestly, can you even name 10 separate Whitecloaks? Honestly, can you do it? Anybody out there listening, right? Like, really? I can't. There's Bornhall Jr. and Sr., that's 2, right? The Zealot Buyer, who's an ass, right? Valda, who's a bigger ass and kind of a rapist. Isn't he the guy that was all over Morgaze? And then there's Ayanawa, whatever the hell that jerk questioner is, that was just evil. I think he's a dark friend too. It's pretty far out. I don't remember. Isn't that 5? Bornhall, Buyer, Valda, Asanawa, Padon Fane, right? That's not Padon Fane, Pedron Nial. That's 6, right? And then Galad, 7, and then Galad has a couple buddies around him that aren't actually too bad, but I can't remember any of their damn names. I hate the Whitecloaks so much. Oh my god. The Shan-Chan, right, are better than the Whitecloaks, even with their Idam slavery, okay? Shara is better than the Whitecloaks, even with their slavery and all their horribleness, because at least they stand for something. The Whitecloaks are just these bigots that are just contradictory. Oh, we stand in the light. Except we're not going to do anything against dark friends. We're not going to go off to the borderlands where the shadow really is hanging over the head. We're not going to help these brave warriors fight off the darkness. We're going to go around and hold our noses up high and stare down at villagers who are just trying to live their lives, and we're going to cause problems. Oh my god. Back to the story. The guards at the gate try and act belligerent, saying, the Whitecloaks have no sway in Paralon. They have no sway with the governor. But then Bornhall pulls that bullshit line of, the children of the light hold sway wherever men walk in the light. Only in the shadow, where the dark one reigns, are the children denied. Yes? You can't see me, but I'm practically throwing my arms around. I'm so frustrated. I'm lost for words. I hate these guys so damn much. They're so pretentious and awful. And okay, breathe. I'm sitting here ranting in a microphone. This is super healthy about fictional characters. Okay. Wow. I'm sure everyone who really gets into any kind of story, whether it's a video game, whether it's a novel, whether it's a movie or anime or whatever, has once or twice imagined themselves in the world they fancy, right? But damn, these kind of moments make me rethink it. I wouldn't be able to. I would love to go to the world of the Wheel of Time. Maybe not when it was in its moments of famine. Maybe, after this war, right? Maybe after Tarmangaden. But I don't think I'd survive in the normal times. And not because of the heat when, the Dark One's touching the world. Not because of the Shan-Chan. Not because of the Aiel or the Shido, Not because even the Dark One. I think the first time I see a Whitecloak walking down the street with his nose in the air and talking about walking the light and it's an order, I don't think I'd be able to keep my damn mouth shut. You better bow and scrape and lick their boots, because if you don't, you're obviously a dark friend. Better not feel or say or even think anything different than they do, or you're obviously a dark friend of light. If I was lucky, they'd only kill me, but with my luck, I'd probably end up in the hands of the questioners. And my only hope there is that I wouldn't be able to prove myself innocent, so I could at least mock them till death. But I have a high pain tolerance, but probably not that high. Oh, sorry about that rant. It just kept going on, and I tried to go back, and oh, damn the Children of the Light. Honestly, they're not worth this much damn time in the whole series. Especially at this point in the story. We'll have enough of them soon enough. They're not worth my time, sorry. They're not worth my time or your time at this point in the story. We'll have enough of that soon enough with Perrin and Egwene, and Bayer and Bornhold and all that. So let's just fast forward through the rest of this absolutely obnoxious encounter. Oh, Light. I'm so sorry for going off on that long, people. I'm not gonna lie, I got so worked up over fictional characters, I actually had to go out for a smoke and calm down. And I'm starting to think I might be an Asha'man because I go out there and it's constant lightning. The sky lit up every few seconds the entire time I was out there for my cigarette, but it was so far away I couldn't hear it. Maybe my frustration was turning the weather, you know what I mean? Oh man, I actually also had to re-listen to the rant just to make sure that I didn't go overboard and kind of pop the audio or anything like that. Oh goodness, I am not a fan of the Whitecloaks, if you noticed. I mean, at least Galad turns them around eventually, right? I mean, by the end of that, Galad's doing good, you know? So, yeah, the Whitecloaks, douchebags. No big surprise. They're talking all their crap, and there's some banter between Bornhold and Lan, you know, it's like, we're going about our business. Well, everybody's our business. It's just like I said, we're going to fast forward through this encounter to the cool stuff with Moraine, okay? Yeah, so Bornhold obviously recognizes Lan as a bit of a threat, you know, obviously. Calls him a Northlander, you know, apparently he doesn't recognize Malkyr. I mean, he is young. I mean, I bet his father would recognize the Hadori, but apparently, you know, Bornhold Jr. doesn't. I don't know. And Bornhold insults the governor and practically all of Baerlon with his talk of rooting out evil at the root. And Rand, who I want to go easy on, couldn't play it cool for just a few frickin' minutes, brings notice to himself by trying not to bring notice to himself. Okay? Even I know that if you don't want to be paid attention to, don't move, don't breathe, don't think. If he wanted to keep himself unnoticed, he should have lounged quietly in the saddle, maybe hunched his shoulders a little bit, and waited. But no, he starts pulling in on himself and trying to duck his head, trying to curl up a little bit and make himself smaller on the saddle. And what does that do? It makes him noticed. It brings Bornhold's attention. Of course. Because he's acting like a man who doesn't want to be noticed. Rand! Come on! I really, really want to stop giving Rand shit. I really do. But he needs to stop being such a dumbass for that to happen. This is practically all his fault. The fade in the inn, the fade that went to the inn because he told Padan Thane where they were, right? And then Bornhold noticing him because he's trying not to be noticed, and because of his stupid display earlier in town, which is not, you know, maybe I should let that one go because he was in the middle of his channeling sickness high, but still, it's just, So now Bornhold notices him. Someone who doesn't wish to be seen. You're lucky, guardsman. You were about to let dark friends into the night. Yes, because Rand laughed at you when you got mud splattered on your coat. He's obviously a dark friend. And because Rand is with these people, they're obviously all dark friends, right, Bornhold? You're just... it just makes so much sense. Your reasoning is so sound, I can't even... Oh, yeah. It makes so much sense. And Moraine has to get nasty just to get them out of town now. You happy, Rand? You happy? I mean, he's just like, "You're lucky, guardsman. Now I will just be confiscating these people and taking them to the Whitecloak camp and the questioners. Unless you would like to go in their place, ha?" And Moraine, oh, blessed Moraine. Oh, Moraine Sedai. Oh, I'm starting to calm down. You heard the clip. You heard it because it's awesome. I put it at the beginning of the chapter because it's so amazing. Yeah, she's like, "You're going to detain me, Whitecloak? You're going to question me?" And she, all the while, is just channeling a badass, awesome Mask of Mirrors of the like we've never seen again. I think the most we've ever seen the Mask of Mirrors reused is when the Aes Sedai from the tower are trying to threaten Rand, and they make themselves... No, it was the Aes Sedai from Salidar, because they think one of Rand's Aiel stabbed one of the Aes Sedai, right? So they're trying to make themselves taller and loose theirs, like, they're trying to threaten me with a Mask of Mirrors. Like, that's the only time I remember it really being used after this, okay? And they only made themselves like 20 feet tall, okay? Moraine goes way taller than that and freaks everyone the hell out. The guardsmen, the Whitecloaks, the Emmons Fielders. The only one who's taking this in stride is Lan, because Lan's awesome and he's probably seen something like this before. Bornhold, he wants to try to kill her. He's like, "Aes Sedai," and he pulls his sword. And he lashes out. I mean, he's an asshole, but at least he's not a coward, okay? I can say that about Bornhold. Even in his bullshit in the Two Rivers where he does nothing, he's not a coward. He didn't hold himself back because he was afraid. He held himself back because he's a distrustful asshole. That's it. And he gets better as time goes on. He was probably a little bit under the influence of Podon Fane around there too, you know? So, but, oh, Moraine. Oh, he swings his sword at her, and her beautiful ivy card staff meets it, and Rand's like, "What? That staff can't..." Just sparks, and they're thrown back, and his sword is bent at a right angle and half melted. It's just so cool. I feel so much better now. What do you guys think she did to make the sparks? I think she probably wrapped her staff in flows of air to make it harder. You know, just a little bit of layer of air around her staff. You know what I mean? Or even if she wanted to use less energy, a little bit of air around the staff that Bornhold was going to hit, like the moment he was about to hit, right? Oh, so cool. Moraine is just great. Bornhold is knocked on his ass, and he's afraid. And Moraine just keeps getting taller and taller until she's so huge she blocks out the moon, and her gorgeous blue eyes are described as the size of full moons, okay? It's just amazing. And Lan takes Moraine's horse by the reins and leads the Two Rivers folk out of the gate, only stopping about 50 or so paces from the gate. And Moraine just looks like she's stepping over the 20-foot plus high log wall. Just so cool. And of course we know it's all illusion. She probably just walked through the gate, right? But it makes me wonder, with the Mask of Mirrors, does she have to change her weave if she's just standing there? Or did she have to do something special because she looked to be stepping over the wall? I'm just curious about that. Maybe it looked comical if you were just seeing her, like she's stepping through the gate, like with these like as wide and as tall steps as she can. Probably looks pretty silly, but I love it. I love it. So she gets to the other side, and once her feet are both firmly placed on the ground on the opposite side of the gate, she's just back to her normal size. Just like that, because it was all an illusion, and she's amazing. She's so cool. She's so cool. I love Moraine. I really hope Pike? Oh god, I already forgot her name. Her name is a little bit unusual, and I'm still trying to remember it. Rosamund Pike? I really hope she does a good job. Again, I'm not entirely opposed. She's just not what I pictured. So I'm holding out hope here. I mean, these kind of scenes, it makes me wish Moiraine had kept her staff more, or that Jordan had written a lot more use of focus items, because that's what the staff was to her. It was a focus. It was something for her to concentrate on. And her use of the staff throughout the first book was so cool. I just wish we'd seen more of it. I really do. So the guards are frantically trying to close the gate while the Whitecloaks are shouting to keep it open to no avail. And the only one that was probably shouting was Bornhald, and I don't think his buddies hesitated to attack Moiraine. Only he attacked. And I bet they're kind of trying to hold him back too. Like, they're like, dude, come on. Did you see that? No, we're not. No, let that spawn of evil go, because, their thought process. Moiraine hurries over and gives her horse a loving pat before climbing into the saddle. I love that. Like, maybe she worried that she scared her horse or something, so she gives him, a stroke and then gets into the saddle. It's really nice. Egwene is in awe, but Matt and Perrin are, sidling away from her a little bit as fast as they can. And Egwene's just, babbling. And, oh my god, you are taller than a giant. Oh, that's so amazing. And Moiraine just plays it cool. She's like, she confirms its illusion. She's like, sometimes the eyes see what isn't there. That's it. She's so cool. And she's like, we gotta hurry on. There's no time, because Moiraine's worried. They lost the small lean they gained resting at the Stag and Lion because they were found. And I like what she says here. She hopes the Drakkar is on the ground tonight. And then laughs at herself and says if she's going to wish for the impossible, better the Myrddraal were truly blind. She's a very practical, intelligent, calculating, awesome woman. And Moiraine is best. Moiraine is amazing. Oh, I love it so much. She made this chapter so much better. I was so frustrated by those damn Whitecloaks, and Moiraine just put them in her place. Put them in her place so well. Oh, yes. So Lan leads them forward towards the Caemlyn Road. I guess they aren't directly on it, so they have to go a little way to get to it. At a quick walk that wouldn't tire their horses. And they go about an hour on the road when Matt gives a little shout, and you look back and they can see smoke and fire as if there was a huge bonfire burning in the distant town behind them. And as I read this chapter, it makes me, think about it, when you don't expect to see the town a mile away, but if you're on fairly fat ground, it's probably totally possible. An hour away. Sorry, not a mile away. An hour away. You wouldn't expect to see it. But again, they were going at a quick walk, and I don't think their terrain was too hilly. So, it's probably not as weird as I first thought when I was reading it. And Moiraine gets a bit upset here. She's like, I warned him, but he wouldn't listen. I warned him. And you could tell she is upset. She probably really liked Master Fitch. And this kind of prompts Perrin to ask, the inn? The Stag and Lion? How can you be sure? And, oh, okay. Well, my notes just went crazy. Where did they go? I hate this. I had to plug in my mouse to my desktop computer. So now I'm mouseless on my laptop, which I'm reading my notes on. And my laptop has been just really not working well. I feel really lucky right now because, 5 times in the last week, it's just shut down randomly. There's a problem with your computer. We're restarting and checking the problem. I'm so lucky it hasn't happened right now. Guards close the gate. Lan leads towards the Caemlyn Road. Okay, yeah, the Stag and Lion, how can you be sure? So sorry about that. And Tom gives an excellent answer, once again proving how awesome Tom Merlin is. He's like, how far do you want to stretch coincidence? It could be the governor's house, but it isn't. And it isn't a warehouse or somebody's kitchen, stove, or your grandmother's haystack. It's great. It's great. He's like, put things together. There's only one place it could really be. There's not much coincidence going on here, especially with you, Taviran. Oh, actually, that's not true. Oh, wow. Okay, well, regardless, it was very cool. Very cool. And Lan riles up Egwene kind of by, stating right after the Gleeman, going, the light might shine upon us yet, And Egwene is indignant. She's like, how dare you? Poor Master Fitch's inn is burning. You know, an innkeeper's daughter, of course she'd be upset. But Moraine responds, if they attacked the inn, then perhaps her display went unnoticed, unless that's what the Murdral wants them to think. Regardless, they must press on. Which they do. They don't really have a choice. They have to keep going. Otherwise, you know, what's the point? Personally, I think it was Podon Fane pissed that he missed the boys that set the inn on fire. I don't think it was Bornhold. As much as I hate the Whitecloaks, I feel they're more likely to come in with a few numbers and drag out whoever they feel is a dark friend and take them to their camp. Not set the inn on fire. Like, personally, I think it was Podon Fane being very pissy. And then this is where Nynaeve opens her mouth this time and gives Moraine the rough side of her tongue. And we all know how rough that is, you know. According to the Shienarans, they believe they could skin the hide off a boar at 20 paces. I remember that. She's like wondering aloud how the Aes Sedai can be so thoughtless that people may be hurt because of her. That Master Fitch's livelihood was ruined because of her. You know, all about the Aes Sedai. But this riles Lan up. And he's like, nuh-uh. Oh, no. Because of them. The fire, the injured, all these going on is because of your Two Rivers boys. The fact that the price must be paid is proof it's worth paying. Anything the Dark One wants that badly, he must be denied. Unless you want the Fade to have them. And Nynaeve was just like, what can she say to that, you know? It makes sense she's frustrated here. Moraine, though, tells him to be at ease, you know, as he often does. And turns to the Wisdom, explaining that, yes, you think there's something she could do? She's right. She could go back and help, at great risk. But the help would have to be small to avoid detections. With Whitecloaks in town, if she healed anyone too obviously, they'd get almost as much negative attention from the children as Moraine herself would. But leaving would only leave Lan to protect them. And while he was obviously very good, they'd need more than him if a few Murdral or a fist of Trollocs found them, while Moraine was off doing her thing, right? Or they could all return. It would be very difficult to get back in unnoticed. It would only put them near those who set the fire in the first place, not to mention the Whitecloaks again. So she's like, okay, Wisdom, what would you have me do? And Nynaeve doesn't have a good answer. She doesn't. She just simply grumbles that she would do something. And you get Nynaeve here. Like, she may have her temper, but it's all about helping people. There's a reason she's the Wisdom. Because she always wants to make people better. She wants to help them. She wants to make sure everyone's okay. And the fact that she's leaving people behind that could be hurt, people that she met, probably is really frustrating her. And she's like, I would do something. And this leads Moraine to say, and most likely, hand the Dark One his victory. Remember what and who he is after. Remember that they are embroiled in a war as surely as anyone in Gildan. But while countless fight there, and only 8 here, that changes nothing. The answers aren't always as simple as you might have them face in the Two Rivers. That you might face in the Two Rivers. I'm sorry. You know, I feel bad for Nynaeve here. She really does want to go back and help, but she feels lost. Poor girl. Moraine did say, though, that she'd be sending money and aid from the White Tower. Enough for Master Fitch to rebuild his inn, and money that couldn't be traced to the Aes Sedai and get him trouble with people like Bornhold. And that's all she could do for now. And at least that's something, right? And so, after that, they kind of moved on in a melancholy silence. You know, they're all too really depressed to talk or anything. You know, at least the Emmonsfielders. They feel bad. You know, this problem came because of them. You know? But I do like this little moment where Rand hopes Min is okay. All he did was run away from her and everything, and I hope she doesn't find me again, and but as it's going on, she's like, I hope that girl's okay, which is, yeah. So after some distance was placed between them and Baerlon, Lan let them stop for an hour to sleep, which really doesn't seem that long when you think about it, unless Moraine's doing the healing again. I mean, personally, it takes me a good 20-30 minutes to get to sleep unless I'm, completely exhausted. And if my adrenaline was peaked up like that, I mean, I'd probably fall asleep 20 minutes before Lan shook me awake. That doesn't sound good at all. Oh, man. So, in the quiet before this short sleep, Matt spoke to the other boys. And at first he's spouting a little bit of nonsense nervously, just wanting to start, He's wondering what Dav did with that badger. Which sounds like something Matt would wonder, but it sounds more like something we get as a thought in his head during a POV, right? But that's just him just starting off, breaking the silence. Before he nervously says what was actually worrying him. He thought they were safe. Other than a bad dream that they all had, they hadn't really encountered anything since crossing the Taran. But after this, will they ever be safe again? Rand ironically answers with, not until they get to Tar Valon, which, coming from the source is actually kind of funny. Because Rand actually only goes to Tar Valon once. And that was with a quick chat with Egwene before leaving, right? I'm going to break the sails. I'll let you gather time and figure out what you're going to do. Bye-bye. That's pretty much it. That's the only time he was ever there. Come on, cat. Don't knock over my stuff. You're being a pest. Sorry about that. Yeah, so other than, that one time, he's never actually goes to Tar Valon. And Perrin wonders if they'll be safe even there. And Perrin never goes to Tar Valon. Wait, no. Doesn't he have actually, doesn't he go there in Teleran Riyadh once? When he's fighting Slayer? I don't remember. Anyways. So, that's where the chapter ends. With a bleary-eyed gang woken up by Lan and pressing on in the early hours, eating bread and cheese and hugging their cloaks close to them in the chill, while Lan, perfectly alert, not only pushing his cloak back, not even huddling in, pushing his cloak back so his sword is revealed, leads them warily onward as if he expects an ambush, which, as we know, will happen in the next chapter. Which also makes me laugh at Moraine's earlier, what if a few Murdral and a fist of Trollocs find you? Because that's what we're going to encounter in the next chapter. Tyshar Manetheren, Tyshar Malkir, they're going to have their first little battle charge. And Matt's going to spout some old tongue, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Wow, this chapter went on a little bit longer than I estimated. We're almost at an hour and a half. I was just going to talk about some nonsense crap, but I think we pushed it a little too far. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter and my discussion. Sometimes I worry I go a little too in-depth, that, I'm covering point by point and giving my opinion on it, and, what's the point of rereading the books when you can just listen to this? But I still think the books are obviously better than my discussions here. But anybody who listened all the way through, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to let me know anything, if you want to criticize anything, if you want to give me support, email me at thegleemanradio@gmail.com, comment on whatever you can, or, send me a tweet at thegleemanradio. Yeah. I've been thinking about having a Q&A with Balsamon eventually. If any of you are interested in that, I might eventually put up a post and just have you guys put out a bunch of questions for him. Maybe we'll do something like that. That might be fun. There won't be as big of a gap from this chapter to the next as there was before. I guarantee that, because we're done with all of that, stuff from before. Here we're going to battling with Trollocs, and then we're going to Shadar Logoth. Oh my god, excuse me. And then we're going to, Perrin's going to be a wolf brother, and we're going to meet Bael Doman, and then we're going to get to Camelin and meet Loyal, and then we're going to go straight to the ways. I mean, there's just so much awesome coming up. I don't think I'll be able to contain myself. I don't think I will be able to wait. So I'll have to keep pushing forward, I really enjoy rereading these or listening to them on the audiobook. I enjoy talking to you guys in the mic. Honestly, the most time-consuming process is the chapter notes. I'm on chapter 18, and I'm on a page 133 of my notes. I'm like halfway through book 1, and I'm on 133 pages. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. Also, if anybody out there is an artist, I'm thinking about putting a little competition up in the next month or so. Putting forth a prize for someone who does the best Gleeman Radio fan art. I'd love to, I'm using some official images that make me a little uncomfortable. They're gorgeous, they're amazing, they're so cool, but, I'd love if someone could draw me up a Gleeman that looks like me, so I might throw up a picture of myself one of these days and have you guys go at it, and the winner could win a copy of the Wheel of Time Companion, or they could win one of the comics from the Eye of the World, something like that, or Taviran tea. Let me know anything you're interested about, and we'll give it a go. So, I don't see any other point. I think I'm just rambling, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, wherever you are. Morning, afternoon, or evening. Take care. Peace out. Bye.